Today we're here to go over an exciting topic. I'm here to share with you. I'm preparing for an HR business partner interview, and I'm going to walk you through the process for how you prepare for those type of interviews if you're new to the HR game or if you're looking to extend your HR career. So this video is packed with valuable insight to help you succeed. So let's dive right in and make sure you hit the like button as you're watching this video. So make sure you subscribe, hit the like button and subscribe. So the first topic we're going to go over is understanding your role. So before we get into the HR prep, let's make sure we understand what exactly is an HR business partner. I've been in HR for about 15 years total, and what I've experienced in the practice is that you're operating as an HR generalist, supporting your client groups within your organization. How you prepare for an interview, right? As you're looking at the, nowadays, we're in the great resignation. Everyone's looking for a new gig. Everyone's looking for a new job, right? So what are some quick tips to help you navigate and find the ideal job you're looking for that matches the lifestyle you're trying to live, right? So we're going to go over some basic interview questions, some interview tips, and strategies to help navigate the interview process. So one of the key things I want to talk about is more understanding the role. So whatever job that you're looking for, one of the quick things you want to take a look at is, go on LinkedIn, check on Indeed, do a Google search, right? You want to understand the type of job that you're looking for, right? And whatever job you're looking for, look at the job description, understand how the job description fits with your abilities and skills that you bring to the table. And you want to, have a firm understanding of what the role is asking you to do, right? That's the first step. Once you have all that information, now we can transition into how do you prepare for the interview process. As you're preparing for the interview process and you have an understanding of the job description, take a look at the business, look at the company, right? Take a look at their mission, values, recent achievements, a cheat code. Take a look at people on LinkedIn if you're on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn, I would advise you get on LinkedIn. It's always good to do a keyword search. Take a look at those who are in the industry or at the company that you're interviewing with. And it's always great to shoot a note and ask, hey, I want to learn a little bit more of the day in the life and the role, right, for a person who may be working in the job that you're applying for, or a manager of a person, or a person who's in the function or department that you're applying for, so you can have a better understanding of the job. So when you go to the interview, you have some inside information. And another cheat code, the more people you connect with the company that you're actually interviewing with is another person on the back end that is going to be speaking your praises to whoever the hiring manager is going to be. Because they're going to ask, hey, do you know who this person is? And they're going to be able to name reference you, right? Because you had that intimate conversation with them about the job before you actually apply for the role. A lot of times, the best interviews are the ones that are informal interviews in those, what I call interview shadowing or job shadowing, where you have opportunity to speak with a person on the job before you get on the job as you're preparing for the interview process. So preparing for the interview process, behavioral-based interview questions. I know some of you are, if you're, master at interviewing and, it's nothing, this is maybe not for you, maybe it can help you refresh some of the key things that you know how to do and maybe do it a little bit better, right? But if you haven't interviewed for a while, say you haven't, you're switching jobs, you haven't interviewed for a long time, maybe it's been 10, 15 years since you interviewed because you've been with a company for a lifetime, right? And you decided to do this is an opportunity to help you navigate that. So you're going to look at, the STAR method. The STAR method you're going to hear if you Google it. It's a method for how you prepare for the interview process. Typically in the STAR method, you look at whatever question they ask you, and we'll go through the behavioral-based questions in this YouTube. But any question they ask you from the STAR method, you're going to first start off with the S. As you look up here, you're going to see the S, and it's talking about the situation. The S from the situation is you really want to focus on what experience that you've had, right, working for a particular company, right, identifying, I worked as a, IT analyst, right? The situation is that I was provided a huge project to decode for a major customer, right? Then T, as you can see up top, the T is for task. You give them the situation, exactly what you're doing. The task, what specifically did you do, right, to resolve whatever the situation was, right? So as the task, you were the lead project person on the IT team, right? Leading a team of 3 people to manage a project for an external customer. And your specific role was to make sure your team hit each of the deliverables and milestones in the project plan. And because of that, your task, you had to set up specific meetings to follow up on deadlines. You had to assign goals. You had to make sure that everyone was doing what they're supposed to do. And if there was any challenges that anyone had, your role was to escalate to provide those individuals resources so you can ensure that the task got done in a timely fashion, right? That's your task. That's how you explain task, right? A is for action. You see the A up top, action, right? What are some examples of things that you've done that demonstrated, right, you explaining, essentially the task that you had at hand, right? Specifically, give me an example of, right, what did you do to remove a roadblock for your employee or remove a roadblock for your team member, right? What did you do in that role, right? Give some examples of a time when. This is what they're looking for, right, when you talk about the action. And then the ultimate is the R, the result, right, from the STAR method, STAR. So from the R method of the STAR method is the result, right? What was the end outcome, right? Did you excel, right? Did you fail? Doesn't matter if you excel or you fail. The golden nugget that comes out of that is what did you learn from the experience, and how are you taking that experience and transferring that ultimately into the role that you're going to be applying for. Hiring managers love that. They want to hear that all the time, right? What did you learn from it, right? Doesn't matter the experience, but what are you doing with that experience, and what does that do for me? Right? You gotta keep in mind that when you're interviewing, it's what's in it for me, right? They're interviewing you, right, for the role, and on the back end, you're interviewing them for the culture fit and everything else that goes along with why you want to be for that work with that company. So these are some of the key things that you want to keep in mind as you're looking to, prepare for the interview process. So we went over the STAR method, right? High level, right? Talking about, the situation, the task, the action, the result, right? These are vital to make sure that when whatever question they're asking you, you can ensure that they have a full and deep understanding of your expertise and your experience, so they know what they're getting, right? Interviewing you for the opportunity that they're looking to hire a person for. Second section we're going to talk about is talking about common questions that you get asked during the interview process. So it's about 4 common questions that I'm going to go over just so you can have a better understanding that you can go through and practice the STAR method that we shared earlier in this video. So one of the questions you're typically going to ask, and I asked these a million times being an interview hiring people, right? Tell me about your HR experience, right? And how it aligns to our business needs, right? And typically, when you sit and hear these type of questions, this is your opportunity to just sit back and let the team understand all the experiences that you have and transferable skill that you bring to the table. Make it a conversation. Remember the STAR method. Just focus on the situation, right? Task, action, results. So you can go on and say, hey, if you only focus on learning and development as an HR specialist and you're trying to transition into an HR business partner role, right? You really want to focus on, the transferable skills. Right? We've just spent some time talking about the STAR method. Really, we're focusing on the situation, the task, the action, the result, to help you prepare for the interview process. So now let's tackle some of the most common interview questions, specifically for those who are going into hiring for an HR business partner role. So one of the key questions you're going to hear is, tell me about your HR experience and how it aligns with the business needs, right? I know when you first hear that and you hear HR business partner, you kind of like, whoa, that's a lot. Right? Calm down, relax. I got you. This is an opportunity for you to sell what you already know. No one knows more than you do in these interview settings. So make sure you take a break, take a deep breath, right? And have a conversation. Just have in the back of your mind the STAR method, right? You having experience in HR, they just want you to showcase what you already know, right? So whatever experience, think about that, situation where, you may have been a junior generalist, right? Working for a manufacturing company, right? You'll set the tone, letting them know, hey, I was a junior generalist for 2 to 3 years working for a 500-person manufacturing site, in Virginia, right? That's the situation, the task. As a junior generalist, I was focused on supporting 200 of those 500 individuals at the manufacturing plant, all 200 of those employees, right? I focused on providing their benefits. I focused on managing employee relations. I focused on doing employee engagement as my day-to-day assignments as a junior HR generalist, right? These are some of the things you want to share as a task, and then you talk about your actions, right? In that role, I supported, first and second shifts. There's only 2 shifts, and sometimes, in my role, I had to work on night shift, supporting the night crew and maintenance, right? And the quality team that was on a part of my client group that I focused on. Right, and in that role, I had to, partner with the supervisors to initiate corrective actions for people who came to work late. These are actions that you could demonstrate, right? That you actually have a command of, skill, a breadth of knowledge when it comes to some of the key tasks that you shared, right? And then you talk about your results, right? While working at that plant. And working with the supervisors on corrective actions for people who came in late, we were able to reduce the amount of time that people are away from the job, right? Improve productivity because we were able to educate, the maintenance and quality technicians on the importance of being to work on time. These are some of the key things that you could tie it back to the bottom line. One of the key things in HR is that whatever you do, you want to be able to provide some type of metric or identify how it benefits the company based on the type of work that you support the client group with. All right, it could easily be something as, hey, I worked with supervisors to create a development plan, right, for a new technician so they have a firm understanding on how they're going to grow within the company, so they understand how can they get trained, who they need to go get trained with, to expedite the learning process so they can contribute to the company, right? These are some of the things that if you think through it, leverage the STAR method, right, and do a little bit of homework and jot down some of your key experiences. You don't have to have all this memorized. You don't have to be the greatest speaker, right, or be a master at interviewing, but you could prepare and put your best foot forward to ensure that the hiring manager has a better understanding of your skill set and breadth of knowledge, and that you actually know how to do your job, right? And get the job done and how you could support the business that you're applying for. Another key question that you're going to hear from behavior-based interview questions is, can you describe a situation where you implemented an HR strategy to address a specific business challenge? I know when you hear developing an HR strategy, what if you don't have that experience? What if you do? Again, lean on the STAR method, all right? HR strategies, be very focused on, what were you able to be a part of and help, right? It could be as small as I led engagement team. And for my piece of the engagement team, talking with technicians on the floor, I had an understanding of what are some of the needs that employees are looking for. So one of the key things that I learned, being a part of the engagement team, is that the engagement team wanted to have more outreach, right? Habitat for Humanity. They wanted to help with the community, right? So strategically, from an HR strategy standpoint, right, that was something that I pitched to the plant manager at the manufacturing plant, saying, hey, I got feedback from the engagement team that the employee population wants to, get more involved in the community for Habitat for Humanity, to show that the company cares and to give back in the community. And working with the plant manager, we were able to establish a Habitat for Humanity opportunity for all employees to join and contribute to, right? And because of that, we were able to improve morale at the organization, at our company, and on the back end, we were able to improve the employer brand recognition win, as well as help people in the community, which is even more of a win, right? to influence and to build in the areas that we're currently living in. Another HR question that you're probably going to hear is, how do you stay updated on HR trends, right? This is your opportunity to share, if you went to any kind of conferences, right? If you are on SHRM, if you got any kind of HR certifications, if you're going back to school, or if there's any kind of training that you're doing online through your company or books that you're reading, they just want to have an understanding, are you staying current with the trends? And the best thing to be focused on is if there's a challenge that you identified, right? Remember talking with people before you interview, going on LinkedIn, right, and learning some of those key things. You can align some of the learnings that you've been taking upon time, and share that to educate, to show your value, that you're hip to what's going on out there. And then the other key thing is, what's your approach to building a strong relationship with the department heads and managers at your company? This is important because they want to feel you can talk to people. People want to feel they can trust you. People want to feel they can build trust, right? So any kind of examples that you can provide leveraging the STAR method that you can share, making genuine connections with people, is going to show, right, the hiring manager that you can do the job, right? Within your first, 30, 60, 90 days, what are some of the key things that you're planning to do, right? Being in HR, I know within my first 30 days, my focus was, answering that question is, how I build trust and how do I build relationships. My first thing is, my first 30 days, I like to schedule a meeting with that first 30 days with my managers and my supervisors and lead techs on the floor to understand some of the challenges, right? My focus is on low-hanging fruit, right? Is there a key position that we need to hire where I can help influence and help hire that person, talent, quickly so I can gain trust? Right? Is there a hurdle or an issue that's going on? Maybe someone, feels that the company is not invested in them, right? And that's a challenge I'm hearing. And I could partner with a supervisor or manager to create a development plan to help that person, get to where they need to be, building trust. Or is it, I'm just not on the floor, I'm not on the production floor, right? Just to be eyes and ears and have a person to talk to, right? So these are key things in your first, 30 days as you're talking, with supervisors and managers, are things you want to focus on, right? You want to understand. You want to talk to lead techs. You want to get on the floor and talk to production technicians, right? This is if you're focused on a manufacturing job, right? But if you're in the office, right, working in a corporate job, working with different functions, it's the same process but a different client group, right? If you're supporting a customer service group or sales or marketing, right, you still want to meet with the supervisor, right? You still want to meet with the manager, understand some of the challenges, and whatever challenges that they may be, right? You want to actually spend a day in the life with the team to understand, right, for yourself, see with your eyes what are some of the things that's going on in their world, right? And inform your decisions based on the connections in learning the business and learning the process for each of those functions to help inform your decisions as an HR business leader. But these are the top 4 questions that you'll typically hear from the HR interview process. And some of the key things I just want you to remember is to calm down, relax, be yourself, right? And at the end of the day, just focus on remembering and preparing yourself, no matter what the question is, to break it down from the situation, task, action, result, STAR method, right? And then at the end, don't forget, as you're thinking about and preparing for the interview process, that you want to have, some questions you want to ask the company on your own. You want to focus on, what is the culture, of your organization? What are the working hours? What are your expectations for a person in this role within the first 90 days, right? So just make sure that as you're interviewing the company, right, that you're ensuring that you're doing your due diligence to interview them. To make sure that it's not just them interviewing you, asking questions, and you're interviewing them, and make sure that the company is a right fit for you as well. Gabe from HR, thank you again for It's Gabe from HR. Thank you for spending time with me going through prep for HR business partners interviewing for HR opportunities out there. I hope that it was helpful going over the STAR method, going over, the 4 general HR questions and kind of walking through, how you go about having those interviews and remaining calm and ensuring that you're having a dialogue and ensuring that after you've they asked all the questions of you and you answered the questions, that you're asking your questions to understand the company as well.